The heel of my shoe snaps at the worst possible second. I feel it go, that thin, sickening give under my right foot, just as I'm walking toward the table where a stranger is waiting for me. The whole restaurant is candlelight and low gold, the kind of place where a glass of water costs more than my lunch. And I am about to fall in front of every single person who came here to watch me fail. I know they're watching. Priya, Chelsea, two others from accounts. They're clustered at a table by the window, half hidden behind a wine list, phones already tilted up. They arranged this. They picked this restaurant, this dress code, this mystery man, so they could film me squirming. So I do the only thing my body knows how to do. I catch myself on the edge of the nearest chair, and I straighten my spine, and I refuse to go down. And that's when he stands up. The man at the table, the one they set me up with. He's older than I expected, late 30s, maybe 40, with a hard jaw shadowed in stubble and a thin scar cutting through one eyebrow. There are tattoos climbing out of his collar and across the back of one hand. His eyes are the kind of cold that makes waiters forget words. When he rose, 3 tables went quiet without knowing why. He crosses to me in 4 steps. And then, in front of the window, in front of the phones, in front of the entire gold-lit room, this man lowers himself to one knee at my feet. He takes my broken heel in his scarred hands, gentle as if it were made of glass. He threads the snap strap back through its buckle. He does not rush. He does not look up at the crowd. He looks up at me. "Don't move," he says low. "I've got you." Behind him, I watch Priya's smile die on her face. I don't understand yet. I don't understand why the most dangerous-looking man I've ever seen is kneeling on a marble floor to fix my shoe like it's the only thing that matters in the world. I don't understand why the waiter 3 feet away has gone the color of the tablecloth. But I will. To understand how I ended up here, a woman everyone underestimated, with a crime lord kneeling at her feet, I have to take you back 3 weeks. To the cubicle. To the day they decided to make a joke out of me. They just picked the wrong woman. My name is Nadia Okafor, and at Hargrove and Vale I was the woman nobody looked at twice. I'd worked there 4 years. I stayed late, I fixed other people's spreadsheets before their morning meetings, and never got the credit. I brought in the good coffee on Mondays because somebody had to, and I was the somebody nobody thanked. I was, in the language of my office, reliable, which is the word people use for a woman they've stopped seeing. Priya Shah ran the social floor like a queen ruling a small, cruel country. She was pretty in the practiced way, and she'd decided years ago that my quietness was an insult to her. Chelsea followed her like a shadow follows heat, and above them both, in her glass corner office, sat Ivory Chen, Director of Client Relations, the kind of woman who smiled at you while signing the paper that cut your hours. I want you to understand, I wasn't weak. I never was. I'd carried myself out of a childhood that would have swallowed most people whole. I'd buried my mother at 19 and kept walking. Quiet is not the same as breakable, but 4 years of being talked over will teach you to make yourself small, and I'd gotten good at it. That Thursday, Priya perched on the edge of my desk with 2 cups of my own Monday coffee in her hands, like she was doing me a favor. "Nadia," she said, "all sugar. We've been talking. You never go out. You never let loose. It's honestly kind of sad." Chelsea giggled behind her. "So we set you up," Priya went on. "A date. Friday night. Somewhere gorgeous. Somne, the tasting place on 5th. There's this guy. Mysterious. Rich. Total catch." I should have heard the trap in her voice. I think part of me did, but another part of me, the tired, lonely part I don't like to admit exists, wanted, just once, to be chosen, even if it was a lie. "Why me?" I asked. Priya's smile widened a fraction too far. "Why not you?" That night I heard the truth by accident. I'd gone back for my charger after everyone thought the floor was empty. Priya and Chelsea were still in the break room, and their voices carried the way voices do when people believe no one worth hearing is around. "Can't wait to see her face," Chelsea was saying. "You actually got someone to agree to it?" "Please," Priya laughed. "I told the matchmaker service she was desperate. Paid the fee myself. The guy they matched. Nobody knows anything about him. Ivory says he's some cold freak nobody in the city will go near. Perfect. She'll sit there all night getting ignored by a monster, and will be at the next table filming every second. Ivory knows him? Ivory knows everyone. A pause. It's going to be the best thing I've ever posted. I stood in the dark hallway with my charger cord biting into my palm, and I felt something in me go very still and very cold. Here's the thing they never understood about me. When you humiliate a woman who has already survived worse, you don't break her. You wake her up. I could have canceled. I almost did. My thumb hovered over Priya's name in my phone 3 separate times that night. A polite little cancellation, drafted and deleted, drafted and deleted. Each time, I thought about my mother. She used to braid my hair on Sunday nights before church, her hands quick and sure, and she'd tell me the same thing every week like a spell she was sewing into me. Baby, the world is going to try to make you small. Don't you help it. She'd tug the braid tight enough to sting. You take up your whole self, every inch God gave you. You hear me? I heard you, Mama. It just took me a long time to remember. There's a difference between running and refusing, and I have never in my life known how to run. So I decided I would go. I would put on the one good dress I owned, deep green, the color my mother used to say made me look like I owned the ground I stood on, and I would sit across from their monster, and I would not give them a single frame worth posting. I didn't know yet that the monster and I had already met. I just didn't remember his face in the light. Let me tell you about a night 8 months before all this, because it matters more than I knew. It was raining the way it only rains in this city. Sideways, mean, soaking you to the bone in the 10 steps between a bus and an awning. I'd taken the late route home through the back streets behind the market because it was shorter and I was exhausted. That's where I found him. A man, half collapsed against a wet brick wall in the mouth of an alley. Blood on his side, dark and spreading, mixing with the rain. Most people would have kept walking. This city teaches you to keep walking. I didn't. I don't know exactly why. Maybe because I know what it is to be on the ground with people stepping around you. I crouched down in my cheap shoes in a puddle and I pressed my scarf against the wound, and I called for help and I stayed. He was drifting, barely conscious, his eyes rolling toward mine. You're going to be okay, I told him, though I had no idea if it was true. Look at me, stay with me. You're not dying in an alley, not tonight. His hand found my wrist. His grip was weak, but his eyes, even fading, even lost, fixed on my face like it was the last thing he wanted to see. Why? He breathed. Just that. Why? Because nobody should be alone down here, I said. I heard tires. Headlights swept the alley. A black car. Men getting out fast. Hard-faced men who took one look at me and reached inside their coats. I raised my hands. I thought I was about to die next to a stranger. But the bleeding man lifted one shaking finger and pointed at me and rasped a single word I didn't understand. Something in Korean, and the men stopped. One of them gently, almost reverently moved me aside and they lifted him into the car, and they were gone in seconds, taillights swallowed by the rain. I never learned his name. I told myself he was some poor soul caught in something ugly. I threw away my ruined scarf and I went home, and I shook for an hour, and I never told anyone. I didn't know I'd saved a king. I didn't know he'd spent 8 months looking for the woman who knelt in the rain and didn't run. I didn't know he'd already found me. Friday came the way dread always comes, too slow, then all at once. Ivory herself offered to drive me. That should have been my first warning. Ivory didn't do favors. But she smiled her cool smile and said she was going that way anyway, and I sat in the passenger seat of her spotless car while she made small talk that felt like a cat batting a mouse. You look nice, she said, eyes on the road. Green suits you. Shame to waste it. Waste it on what? Her smile didn't move. It's a big restaurant, Nadia. Lot of people. You might feel out of place. There it was, the little push, the reminder to know my size. I looked out the window and said nothing. I'd learned long ago that silence unsettles cruel people more than anger does. They want a reaction. Starve them. Somne was worse than I'd imagined. Beautiful in a way built to make you feel like an intruder. Marble floors that threw back the candlelight. Waiters who moved like they were performing surgery. And there, exactly as promised, at a table by the window, Priya, Chelsea, and two others, wine glasses raised in a toast to my coming ruin, phones already propped against the ice bucket. Priya waved at me, fingers wiggling. "Nadia, over here." "No, sweetie. Your table's over there. The one for two." She giggled. "Have fun." The hostess led me toward a table near the center of the room, and every step felt like a walk to a stage. I could feel the coworkers' eyes on my back. I could feel the camera lenses. My table was empty. Of course it was. That was the plan, leave me sitting alone under the lights, waiting for a man who either wouldn't come or would take one look and leave. The slow public death of a woman stood up in her one good dress. I sat. I put my hands in my lap so no one could see them shake. I told myself, "You have survived worse than a dinner. You have buried more than your pride." 10 minutes, 15. The waiter poured water and pretended not to pity me. At the window table, Priya was narrating to her phone, gleeful. And then the whole restaurant changed. I felt it before I saw it, a shift in the air, the way a room goes quiet when something dangerous walks in. Conversations died mid-sentence. A waiter froze with a bottle half-tilted. The maitre d' actually straightened his jacket and bowed toward the door. A man had walked in, and every powerful person in that expensive room was suddenly afraid. He moved through the restaurant like the floor belonged to him, because, I would learn, it did. Tall, broad through the shoulders in a way his dark suit didn't hide but framed. That hard, scarred face I'd glimpsed in my cold open. Stubble, cold eyes, a thin white line through one brow, ink at his collar and across the back of his hand. He didn't hurry. He didn't look at anyone. Men at other tables lowered their gazes as he passed, the way you don't meet a wolf's eyes. Behind me, I heard Chelsea whisper, too loud, "Oh my God, is that him? That's the guy?" And Priya's voice, suddenly less sure, "That can't be. That's not. Ivory said he was some loner freak. Not." I heard a fork clatter against china. Somebody at the window table said, low and strangled, "Do you know who that is?" I didn't. Not yet. He stopped at my table. Up close, he was even more than the room made him. But it wasn't the danger that undid me. It was the way he looked at me, the way his cold eyes found my face, and something moved behind them, something that cracked all the way open, like a man who'd been holding his breath for 8 months and was finally allowed to let it go. He knew me. I could see it. And I felt the ghost of rain on my skin, the memory of a wet wall and a bleeding stranger, and I couldn't place it, couldn't quite catch it, but my heart was already pounding like it remembered what my mind couldn't. "You came," he said. His voice was quiet gravel. "I wasn't sure you would." "I'm sorry. Do we?" "Sit," he said gently, and pulled out my chair himself before the frozen waiter could move. "Please. I've waited a long time for this dinner." I sat because my legs weren't sure of themselves anymore. Across the room, I could see Priya on her feet now, phone forgotten, mouthing something furious at Ivory, who had gone pale in the doorway. The plan was cracking, and none of them knew why. The man settled across from me. And this feared thing, this monster the whole room feared, he leaned forward and did something no one expected. He softened. "You don't remember me," he said, not accusing, almost tender. "That's all right, you wouldn't. It was dark, and you were too busy saving my life to look at my face. The rain, the alley, the blood on my scarf." The room tilted. "That was you," I whispered. "That was me," he said. "My name is Kang Do-yun, and for 8 months, I have been looking for the woman who knelt in the rain for a stranger and asked for nothing." I opened my mouth. I don't know what I would have said. I never got to say it, because I shifted my weight, and my already broken heel finally gave all the way, and I lurched sideways with a gasp. And Kang Do-yun, feared king of half this city, was out of his chair and on his knees at my feet before I'd finished falling. You already saw this part, now you get to feel it. He caught me, one scarred hand at my waist, steadying, the other closing around my ankle so gently I forgot to breathe. He lowered himself fully onto one knee on that cold marble in his $1,000 suit in front of a room full of the city's most important people, and he took my broken shoe in his hands. Don't move, he said again, softer now, just for me. I've got you. And he fixed it. He threaded the snap strap back through the buckle, his big hands careful as a surgeon's, his head bowed at my feet. He was in no hurry. He did not glance once at the phones, at the crowd, at the window table where Priya had gone the color of ash. The most feared man in the room knelt at the feet of the woman his date had been arranged to humiliate, and he tended to her like she was the only person alive. When he finished, he didn't stand right away. He looked up at me from the floor, and there was nothing cold in his eyes anymore. Only that same devotion I'd feel every day after. There, he said, you won't fall, not while I'm here. I heard a glass shatter at the window table. Chelsea had knocked it clean off with an elbow, staring, forgetting to breathe. Priya was frozen with her phone still up, filming the exact opposite of what she'd planned, filming the moment the woman she meant to break became the woman a king knelt for. I found my voice. People are staring. Let them. He rose, finally, and took his seat again across from me, as if nothing in the world could touch us. They've never seen it before. A man on his knees who wanted to be there. I didn't know it yet, but every person in that room had just watched their entire understanding of power rearrange itself. The maitre d' would tell the story for years. The men who feared Kang Do-yoon would repeat it in low voices, the night the dawn knelt, and smiled while he did it. And the woman they'd all overlooked was sitting straighter than she had in 4 years. Priya was moving toward us now, fast, her heels stabbing the marble, panic making her reckless. She had no idea what she was walking into. Nadia, Priya's voice was pitched high and bright and desperate. There you are. I see you two are getting along. Isn't this fun? This is so fun. She turned to Do-yoon with a smile stretched to breaking. I'm Priya. I actually arranged all this. It was my idea. Isn't it romantic? She was trying to claim it, trying to fold herself back into a story that had escaped her. I almost admired the nerve. Do-yoon didn't look at her. He kept his eyes on me. You know this woman? We work together, I said carefully. We're friends, Priya cut in. We're not, I said. The word dropped into the space between us and just sat there. Priya's smile flickered. Do-yoon finally turned his head and looked at her. Really looked, the full cold weight of it. And I watched Priya feel, for the first time, what it was like to be seen by him. She actually took a step back. You arranged this, he said quietly. Yes. To be nice, You arranged for this woman, he said, and his voice never rose, which was somehow worse, to be brought to a public place, dressed up, and left alone at a table, so that you and your friends could film her being humiliated by a man you were told was a monster. A pause. Did I understand the arrangement correctly? The color left Priya's face in a slow drain. That's not. I know exactly what it was, he said. I accepted it. Do you know why? She shook her head, mute. Because when your little service sent me a photograph of the woman I'd be meeting, he said, I recognized her. I have been trying to find her for 8 months. You did in 1 week what my entire organization could not. Something almost like a smile touched his mouth, and it was terrifying. So thank you, Priya. You brought her to me. But make no mistake about what you tried to do. At the window table, Ivory had finally reached them. She grabbed Priya's arm. Priya, stop talking. Stop talking right now. Her voice had a new note in it. Fear. Ivory knew things Priya didn't. Ivory had called him a loner freak because that was the safe lie. Ivory knew exactly who Kang Do-yoon was, and she'd sent me across a table from him thinking he'd ignore me, never dreaming he'd kneel. Now Ivory was looking at me the way you look at someone who has become suddenly, dangerously important. Nadia, Ivory said, smooth even through her panic. There's clearly been a misunderstanding. Let's all just sit down, Do-yun said, not loud. Not to Ivory. To me. He was asking me what I wanted, handing me the room. Every eye, every phone, every trembling coworker. He laid it all in my hands and waited. For 4 years, I'd swallowed it. The comments, the credit taken, the way they looked through me. I looked up at Ivory and Priya, and I felt the stillness in me settle into something like calm. Go back to your table, I said quietly. You wanted a show. Sit down and watch it. They went back to their table. They actually went. And Do-yun turned all of his attention to me like they'd never existed. Here is the thing no one at that restaurant would have believed. Alone with me, as alone as you can be in a crowded room, the most feared man in the city became something else entirely. He poured my water before his own. When I reached for the bread, he moved the dish an inch closer, unconsciously, so my arm wouldn't have to stretch. When I spoke, he leaned in like every word I said was worth more than any deal he'd ever closed. He asked me questions, real ones. What I loved, what I'd lost, where the quiet, watchful strength in me had come from. And when I answered, he listened with a stillness that felt like being held. You called me a king, I said at one point, half teasing, trying to steady my own heart. You knelt on the floor. People are going to talk. Let them build a legend out of it. He turned his scarred hand palm up on the table, an offering, not a demand. A man's power is only worth what it can protect. For 8 months, mine could protect everything except the one thing I wanted to find. You gave me my life in that alley and asked for nothing. Do you understand how rare that is, in my world? Everyone wants something. You wanted me to live. I'd have done it for anyone. I know. His voice dropped. That's why. I felt something shift in my chest, something I'd kept locked for a long time. You could have found me any way you wanted, I said. Money, people. You could have sent a car to my apartment months ago. Why let it happen like this? A setup meant to hurt me. Something flickered across his face. Regret, maybe. I didn't arrange the setup. I only recognized the photograph and let it play out. He turned his glass slowly by the stem. And I'll be honest with you, because you've earned honesty. I almost didn't. When the service sent me your picture with a note that said you were being pushed into this against your dignity, I nearly walked in that first night and burned the whole scheme down before you arrived. I wanted to, but I've spent my life taking choices away from people, deciding for them, owning them. He met my eyes. I didn't want to own the moment I finally found you. I wanted to walk in as a stranger and let you decide whether I was worth a single minute of your evening, even if it meant risking that you'd stand and leave the second you saw my face. And if I'd left, then I'd have watched you go, he said simply, and been grateful I got to see you walk out on your own 2 feet, free. That's more than I gave most people in my old life. The waiter drifted past and thought better of interrupting us. Tell me their names, he said gently. The ones who did this to you, not for tonight. Tonight is already theirs to regret. I mean the years, the credit they took, the way they made you small. Tell me, and I will make sure it never happens to you again. You don't even know me. I know you knelt in the rain for a dying stranger, he said. I know everything I need to, but I shook my head. I don't want you to hurt them. He went very still. I mean it, I said. That's not who I am. If you're going to do something because of me, then do it my way, not with fear, with truth. For a long moment, he just looked at me, and then this dangerous man, this crime lord the whole city flinched from, bowed his head slightly, the smallest gesture, but I understood it. He was yielding, to me. With truth, he agreed softly, your way. I didn't know then that Ivory was already at the window table, phone to her ear, setting fire to my life at the office to save her own. I'd find out Monday. Monday morning, I walked into Hargrove and Vale and knew instantly that something was wrong. People stopped talking when I passed, not the usual overlooking. This was worse. This was watching. Chelsea wouldn't meet my eyes. Someone by the printer whispered and turned away. By 9, HR had emailed me. Please come to the fourth floor conference room. Ivory was already there, seated at the head of the table beside a man from Hera never spoken to, wearing a face full of practiced sorrow. On the screen behind them was a photograph. It was doctored, badly, if you knew to look, but convincingly if you didn't. Me, apparently handing a folder to a competitor's logo, over a caption implying I'd been leaking client information for months. Beside it, a fabricated email chain in something like my writing style. Nadia, Ivory said, gentle as a knife going in. We take these things very seriously. I want to give you a chance to explain before we involve the authorities. I understood exactly what this was. Friday had terrified her. A woman she'd dismissed now had the ear of the most powerful man in the city, and Ivory Chen did not survive by leaving threats standing. So she'd moved first. Discredit me. Destroy my name. Make me untouchable, unbelievable, gone, before I could become dangerous to her. It was clever. It was vicious. And for one cold second in that conference room, watching HR nod along, I felt the old smallness try to climb back into me. Then my phone buzzed on the table. One message. From a number I'd saved Friday night. Do Yun. Whatever they show you, do not sign anything. Look up. I looked up. Through the glass wall of the conference room, I saw the elevator doors open at the end of the floor. And Kang Do-yun stepped out, flanked by two men in dark suits and one older man carrying a leather portfolio, and the entire office went silent the way that restaurant had, all at once, like the temperature had dropped 10 degrees. Ivory turned to see what I was staring at. Every drop of color left her face, because the man walking toward the conference room, the man who owned the building we were sitting in, the man whose name was on paperwork Ivory had never been high enough to read, was the cold freak she'd sent me to be humiliated by. She hadn't just picked the wrong woman, she'd picked a fight with a king, on his own land. The door opened. Do-yun didn't storm in, he didn't need to. He walked in slow, and the room bent around him. Don't let me interrupt, he said pleasantly, which was the most frightening thing I'd ever heard. Please, continue. You were accusing this woman of something. The HR man half rose. Sir, I'm sorry. This is a private personnel. It's my building, Do-yun said. Hargrove and Vale restructured under Sunhwa Holdings 14 months ago. I own the majority stake. He let that land. So there's very little in this building that's private from me, now. He nodded at the doctored photo on the screen. Tell me about this. Ivory recovered fast. I'll give her that. Mr. Kang, this is deeply unfortunate, but we've uncovered evidence that Miss Okafor has been... That image was created on Saturday, said the older man with the portfolio, opening it, not looking up, at 2:14 in the afternoon, from an IP address registered to Miss Chen's home network. The metadata is still in the file she was careless enough to embed. The email chain was generated from a template. I have the originals. Would you like me to project them beside these? Silence. I watched Ivory understand that she had walked, at speed, into a wall she couldn't see. You reached out to a matchmaking service under a false pretext, Do-yun continued, his voice never rising, each word a stone laid in place. You did it to humiliate an employee. When that humiliation failed, when it did the opposite, you panicked, and you manufactured a crime to destroy her before she could threaten you. He tilted his head. Have I missed anything? Ivory's mouth opened. Nothing came out. And here is where I could have let him finish it, where I could have let the king raze her to the ground. Part of me wanted it, but I'd told him, my way, with truth. So I stood up. I'll take it from here, I said. Do-yun looked at me, and in front of HR, in front of Ivory, in front of the whole watching floor pressed against the glass, he stepped back and inclined his head and gave me the floor. The king stood down. For me, for 4 years, I said, I have been invisible in this building. I fixed the reports you presented as yours, Ivory. I stayed late so you could leave early, and I never said a word, because I told myself that was the price of keeping my head down. The room was so quiet I could hear the HVAC. You could have just left me invisible. That would have been enough. But invisible wasn't the goal, was it? The goal was to remind me I was less. So you set me up to be laughed at by a stranger. And when that stranger turned out to respect me more in one night than you managed in 4 years, it scared you so badly that you forged a federal crime and put it on a screen. I let my eyes move across the room, to the glass, to every face I recognized. I'm not the one who should be afraid in this room. I turned to the HR man. Everything he said about the metadata, verify it independently. Don't take his word or mine. Pull the file, check the IP, check the timestamps, and when it's exactly what he said it is, I want it on record who created it and why. The HR man was nodding before I finished. Yes, of course. We'll open an immediate. Ivory Chen is suspended pending investigation. Effective now, Do-yoon said quietly from behind me, not overriding me, filling in the authority I didn't have. Priya Shah and Chelsea Boyd as well, for their part Friday. Every phone that filmed at Somni will be reviewed, not by me, by legal, by the process. His eyes touched mine, by truth. Ivory rose on unsteady legs. For a moment, the mask slipped entirely, and what was underneath was just fear. You'd burned 3 careers, she said, over 1 dinner. Over her. No, I said, you burned them. Friday, when you thought I wasn't worth the risk. All he did was turn on the lights. They walked Ivory out past the glass. Nobody looked away this time. Everybody saw. And I stood in the middle of that conference room, the woman they'd all looked through for 4 years, and for the first time I felt exactly my own size, which it turned out was not small at all. The company held its autumn gala 2 weeks later, in a hotel ballroom dripping with light. I almost didn't go, but Do-yoon asked, the way he asked everything, leaving the yes entirely in my hands, and I decided I wanted to walk into that room on my own terms, not hidden, not shrinking, seen. Word had traveled, of course. By then, the whole company knew some version of the story. The invisible woman from accounts, the man who owned the building, the night at Somne. People who'd never learned my name for 4 years suddenly knew it. I felt them watching as I came in, this time in a gown the deep red of something that refuses to apologize. Do-yoon was already there, at the center of a ring of executives who were trying very hard to impress him and failing. He was nodding along, distant, bored. Then he saw me, and the change in him was so total that the men around him turned to see what had done it. He left them mid-sentence. He crossed the ballroom, the whole ballroom, everyone watching, and he stopped in front of me, and this feared king took my hand in both of his and lifted it and pressed his mouth to my knuckles, his head bowed. You came, he murmured, the same words as that first night. I came, I said. He turned, my hand still in his, to face the room that had spent 4 years not seeing me. Most of you know who I am, he said, and the ballroom went silent. Some of you know what I own. Very few of you know what I value, so let me correct that tonight. His hand tightened around mine. This woman knelt in the rain for a stranger with no name and no reason, and asked for nothing in return. In a city that taught me everyone has a price, she is the only person I have ever met who didn't. You spent 4 years stepping over her. His cold eyes swept them all. I spent 8 months looking for her. Ask yourselves which of us understood her worth. Nobody breathed. I'm not here to threaten anyone, he went on. She wouldn't allow it, and I've learned to listen to her. But understand this clearly, so no one has to learn it the hard way again. He looked down at me, and all the cold drained out of him, and what was left was just a man undone. Whatever she needs, whatever she wants. For the rest of my life, the answer is yes, and I will kneel in front of every one of you to prove it, and count myself lucky. I'd been strong for a long time. I'd had to be. Standing there, I felt something I'd almost forgotten how to feel. Safe. There's one more thing he did, and it's the part I think about most. Late that night, on a hotel balcony overlooking the city he half-owned, he told me the truth about what he was. All of it. The business that wasn't legal. The men who feared him for reasons. the blood that had been on his side in that alley, and where it had come from. "I'm telling you," he said, watching my face, "because you should be able to choose knowing everything, not the legend, the man. And the man is not a good one, Nadia, but he would like for once to belong to something good." I could have walked away. He built it so I could. That was the whole point. He gave me every exit before he ever asked me to stay. "The parts of your world that would touch me," I said slowly. "The dangerous parts. The parts that put you in that alley." "Gone," he said, without hesitation. "I've already begun. It costs me territory, money, men who won't understand. I'm giving it up, not to earn you. You never asked me to. I'm giving it up because I finally have a reason to want to survive to be old, and I'd like to actually get there." His mouth curved. "With you, if you'll let me, on the ground beside you, or on my knees." "Whichever you prefer." I laughed, a real one, surprised out of me, and I felt 8 months and 4 years and a whole lifetime of being overlooked lift off my shoulders and scatter into the night. I thought about the girl who buried her mother at 19 and kept walking. The woman who knelt in the rain because nobody should be alone down there, the one they set up to break. She hadn't broken. She'd been waiting to be met. I reached out and took his scarred hand, the one with the ink across the back, and I held it in both of mine the way he'd held mine in the ballroom. "Beside me," I said, "not on your knees, beside me." The most feared man in the city, the king who owned half of it and was quietly giving it away, let out a breath like he'd been holding it since the alley. "Beside you," he agreed. And the woman nobody looked at twice stood on a balcony above a whole glittering city, and finally, for the first time in her life, felt tall. So that's my story, the blind date they arranged to humiliate me, and the king who knelt at my feet instead. I want to hear from you. If you'd been sitting at that window table, watching Priya's plan fall apart in real time, what would you have done? And be honest with me. When they set you up to fail, do you shrink or do you stand? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this story moved you, subscribe and stay close. There are so many more of these to tell, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Until then, take care of yourself. Kneel for no one who wouldn't kneel for you. And I'll see you in the next story.